Howdy, y'all. I am sorry that I am late. I got distracted trying to turn in um, part of my finals. I was just uploading the document and it took a little bit longer than I thought. But it is in, so I am done with almost everything. I had to work this morning. I got home early, so I'm taking a break. I thought about going downtown, but it's more than I want to do today. Maybe tomorrow after I've got everything turned in. That'll be my reward. We shall see. So, hi, IMI. You'll be happy to hear that the reason that I was late is because I was turning in a final assignment. So I've only got 2 assignments left, and I am mostly done with both of them. I have to go through and edit them this afternoon and reread them. They're not due until tomorrow, so I've got plenty of time to edit to my heart's content. Hopefully, that'll be easy and useful. Generally, editing makes my anxiety stand on end, but I'm hoping that it won't be as much of an issue since I've got so much time. We shall see. We shall see. After tomorrow, I will be all done with classes for the quarter. I've got to work Thursday and Friday, so that's kind of a bummer. But after that, I've got 10 or 12 days off before the next quarter starts. So I'm excited to have all the days off. It will be really, really nice. How are you doing today, IMI? I am doing well. It is a beautiful sunny day, and I still may get a wild hair and go downtown today. We shall see. Um, we shall see. I'm glad you're doing well. That's really good to hear. I like it when people are doing well. It's always much nicer than when people are doing not well. So I saw that DOA did not get a restraining order issued against him, so that is exceptionally good news. Exceptionally good news. It's been continued to the end of April, but that should give him enough time to find a lawyer and get some help from the lawyer. Yeah, that's where I keep my vape. Get some help from the lawyer and let him know. The lawyer should be able to help him make sure that this restraining order doesn't go against him. I was really relieved to hear that. So my Tuesday is not tranquil. I was kind of worked up when I got home, but I think I'm relaxing a bit now that I've got that one assignment turned in. So yeah, I don't have any great subjects of conversation beyond that great news about DOA. And the good news about me getting my assignment in. I guess we could have some puppy time. Come here, puppy. There's some puppy time. Come on. Yeah, puppy time. Puppy time. This is Orion. He is 3 years old. He is a sweet boy, just like he's looking like right now, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Are you looking like a nice boy right now? Bow wow. I love that smelling of bow wow, IMI. That's lovely. He is a sweetie Petey, this one. Yes. Yes, you want the scritches. You want the scritches. I am still getting the hang of just talking off the cuff and coming up with things to talk about. It is harder than one might think to just speak off the cuff to nobody for minutes on end. I am surprised at how difficult it is because usually I don't have any difficulty speaking about anything for any length of time. But doing it into the abyss seems to be a little bit difficult. Orion is a miniature dachshund, and I got him about 3 years ago as a puppy. It'll be 3 years this summer. And he has been a very good addition to my life, although my husband is not thrilled with having a puppy in the house. But it looks like everybody must be busy at this time on Tuesday. I feel like nobody wants to be in the live. Maybe I am just ruined by how many people I had in the live on Sunday. And so now I think anything less than 15 people is too few. But IMI, you are enough. You are absolutely enough. Trying to think what I'm going to do. Oh, you guys see the new earrings I got? Check these out. Aren't they cute? Can you see how they're purple and they've got a little bee? I thought they were so cute. Here's a better picture, not in my ear. Come on, focus. We went to my client and she wanted to get some bird food. So we went to the bird feeder, the bird food store. They have a wild bird food store here in this town, and they had all kinds of stuff, the most amazing bird houses and different kinds of bird feeders, more than you could ever imagine, and hummingbird feeders. And then they had earrings, they had nesting material disperser things. So I got a little vine wrapped ball of wool roving so that the hummingbirds and other animals can come and just pull little bits of the cotton or wool roving. I'm not sure which it is. Thanks, I'm glad you like the earrings. Whatever it is, they can come and the birds can come and pull it out of the little vine ball. So that's sort of cool. I've never seen anything like that before. So I got it and put it in the backyard. I suppose I should pull out my hummingbird feeders and wash them and get them outside, because it is that time of the year, that's for sure. So that's what I did this morning. And then I came home to work on my homework. I came home to work on my homework instead of going downtown and protesting. You'd be so proud of me. Yeah, the wool roving is so they can nest. Yeah, exactly. And they say this is just the right time for them to have it. So I thought it would be sweet to put it out in the yard for the birds. I'd love to have squirrels in the yard, but they make the miniature dachshund absolutely crazy, and anytime I'm outside, he's outside with me, so I never get to see them do any hijinks. It's one of the problems of having a dog. It chases the squirrels away. I know I got to get the homework done first. I'm almost done. Next quarter, I'm taking sociolinguistics, and I'm really hoping sociolinguistics will be more interesting and a little easier to go into. Hi, Amy. How are you? It'll be a little easier for me to understand and jive with than second language acquisition was. Second language acquisition was really, really hard for me. I don't know why. Although my grades are still good, so it must not be that hard, but it's felt like I've been off my feed all quarter, and I don't like that at all. At all. So it would be nice if I had a syllabus. I don't have a syllabus yet, but that'll come. Yeah. What's next? If you didn't hear, Amy, DOA did not get the restraining order issued against him, so that's really good. We're working on getting the backyard ready. We've got a sniff spot, and people have been asking and asking when we're going to reopen the yard because we've had it closed down. We had it closed down last summer. And yeah, it's really exciting, Amy. Hey, Ren, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm glad you made it live. We were just talking about the good news that DOA did not get a restraining order issued against him. It's been continued until late April, so that's wonderful. I got most of my homework turned in. I've still got a little bit left to do. And I forgot what I was going to talk about next. Sociolinguistics is next quarter. I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be a little more interesting than second language acquisition was, I hope. We shall see. Doesn't he look handsome in a suit? I was so floored. He is a very handsome man. Very handsome. He cleans up really nice. Yeah, I was a little floored. I mean, he is a handsome man, but boy, oh boy, does he look nice in a suit. If you guys haven't seen it, Jacob Harkey had him on his channel. Mindy Willens had him on her channel. I don't know who else was streaming, but boy, oh boy. Oh, and he was streaming directly as well. DOA was streaming. So if you haven't had a chance to go watch it, please take a look over and see how he looks in a suit because, oh my goodness. Very, very nice. I hope he impressed the court. I really hope he has the opportunity to get counsel for this restraining hearing because I think it's always wise to have an attorney when you're going up against another attorney. I think it would be different if it was just being served without an attorney, but I don't like dealing with attorneys without an attorney. He does look sharp. He even had dress shoes, Ran. That's amazing. Lisa, how are you doing today? It's a beautiful day. Are you getting any hikes in during the week? I know during the season you usually do streams of your hikes. So, What do I have planned for my week off? Well, I've got some doctor's appointments I've got to do, and I've got some time with my kids I've got to spend. They're both gonna, my two youngest are gonna be home out of school. Um, my youngest is still in high school, so they live at home. And my second to youngest is in really and truly furry Crocs. Ren, are you serious? That would be hilarious if it was true. Okay, guys, you're going to have to tell me. I totally lost my train of thought there. I shouldn't look at the chat while I'm talking. I can't probably do that. Hey, Maya, how are you? DOA said he got pics. Wow. Furry Crocs in court. That is a new one. I don't know if I would be able to do that. That just seems wrong on so many levels. Okay, you guys, I got to show you again since more of you are here. Check out the earrings I got when we went to the bird feeding store today. Check them out. My second child, my first and second children are grown and out of school. They've got their bachelor's degrees already. Come on, focus. They've got their bachelor's degree already. And they work full time. They both live in this area, so that's nice. My third child is off at school about 6 hours away. It's definitely good hiking weather. Yes, Ren, bees. So my first child is going to be 30 in 21 or 2 days. And my second child just turned 28. He was in court today. DOA was in court today for a restraining order hearing. The owner of La Poubelle wanted to take a restraining order out against him. For all of the stuff. She says for all of the things that she wants a restraining order against him. And so the hearing was today, and apparently, according to Ren and DOA, the lawyer, who is Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, showed up in Crocs. The outcome was that the restraining order hearing was continued until the end of April. So he did not get a restraining order issued against him. He got a continuance, which means they'll hear the order again in 30 days, but he does not have a restraining order in the meantime. So that's good. Ren, you are really sweet. And no, everybody tells me I don't look old enough to have an almost 30-year-old, but that is my oldest, and I was not a teenager when I had him. So, yeah, he's my baby. My baby is 30. So my kids are 30, almost 30, 28, 21, and 15. They're all a handful. My 15-year-old is a freshman in high school, and my 21-year-old is a junior in college, I believe. Ren, then you and I are the same. My youngest I had at 40. 40? I had my youngest at 40, so you were a little older. I got pregnant again at 42, and I only have one fallopian tube because I've had an ectopic pregnancy. I got pregnant at 42 with an IUD and only one fallopian tube. So that's my fertility story. It took me until then to realize, yes, I had been using birth control all these times, and that some people are just more fertile than others. It wasn't actually my fault. It was a really eye-opening experience to realize that fertility falls on a spectrum just like anything else. And so if some people are just really infertile, then some people are more fertile. And so I had always sort of, having 4 children, one feels like they're not taking the protection they should be taking. But I was using protection, and uh, I still got pregnant that often. So, Ren, how many kids do you have? I know it takes forever for the messages to go out and to come back in. I think there's like a 90-second lag between what I say and what you guys comment, which is really unfortunate. 41, 36, and 23. Wow, Lisa. That's a nice age range too. Most people don't have that kind of age range that I have. 2, 19, and 16. Wow, you are really brave, Ren. I still had one under 10 when I got pregnant with my fourth one, so it made it a whole lot easier. I think if I'd had 2 teenagers and gotten pregnant with another one, that would, well, I did have 2 teenagers and got pregnant with a younger one, but I still had a grade schooler. Lisa, that might be a bigger difference than I have between my oldest and youngest, because my oldest is, let's see, let me do the math. 41, it's 18 years. Yeah, that's a little longer difference than I have for mine. I love my kids. They are really the best. They've grown up into, oh, no 2-year-old. Sorry, I get that now. 19 and 16-year-old. That makes more sense now. Miscarriages are the worst, Ren. I'm so sorry. That's really difficult. My first child was a miscarriage, and I remember how heartbroken and devastated I was, on top of it being incredibly painful, with nothing good on the other side and no real understanding of what I was going through because I'd never had a child. So it made it really difficult. I'm sorry for your miscarriages. I'm really sorry for your miscarriages. It's one of the things I hear from young women all the time. They tell me they had a miscarriage, and that all of a sudden, when they reveal they had a miscarriage, all these women come out of the woodwork revealing they had miscarriages, and um, they'd never realized that so many people had miscarriages, because it's just the silent thing that we don't seem to talk about. Miracles do happen, Ren, and I'm so glad you were able to carry to term. Those two must feel like incredible blessings. Incredible blessings. Yeah, yeah. Young women who have miscarriages are just especially for first miscarriages. I think we don't talk about how often it can happen that miscarriages happen. Lisa, I'm really sorry about your miscarriages. They are really hard. Ren, that's amazing that they're your joy every day. 19 and 16 is hard ages. I think my teenagers, the older they got, the more difficult it was for me to deal with them. Yeah, yeah, but that wasn't a really good time either. I've struggled a lot over the last 10 years with my mental health. I think so. I think, Maya, you're right. It probably happens more or less to most women at one point or another. I think often we have miscarriages and don't even realize it. It's the wonderful thing about the morning after pill is all it does is prevents implantation, so it's not even a miscarriage. Yeah, Ren. Exactly. So, April is coming. I am looking forward to the spring. It has been faux spring here in Oregon now for about 5 days. I need to look at the weather report and see when the pretend spring goes away, because usually we have 2 or 3 faux springs before actual spring happens. And I haven't looked at the weather to see what the long-term forecast is, but it has just been beautiful. I'm tempted during spring break to switch out my closet to all my summer clothes, but I am terrified that if I do that, the weather is going to turn cold again and I will have absolutely nothing to wear. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I make the. Oh, Ren, you are. Well, it's 70 degrees here in Portland today. But I'm thinking about prepping the garden beds. We've got some raised garden beds that I need to figure out how to keep the dog out of. Um, they're kind of falling apart. It's turning back into the 50s next week in Portland. Hey, Laura, how are you? I thought that this faux spring was too good to be true. Maya, where are you? I grew up in Minnesota where it didn't turn into spring until May, late April, May. So we live by the axiom of April showers bring May flowers. But in Portland, the cherries are blooming. Arctic Norway. Yeah, that's right. You've told me that before, Maya. I keep forgetting. You guys are going to have to forgive me. My memory isn't the best, and so it'll take several go rounds until I connect your name with your location. And if you throw in your actual name instead of your handle, I will be I will be confused forever. My children complain that I can't keep their names straight from each other or from the dog. Lisa, I am probably going downtown this week. I'm thinking about doing it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it tomorrow or Thursday. Yes, it could do that at any time in March or April, Laura. That's why I am that's why I'm really concerned. That's why I'm really concerned about trading out my closet during spring break because I think I'm going to put all my warm clothes away, and I won't have any opportunity, or I won't have any of my warm clothes, so the weather will change rather, and I just won't be able to be warm. And I'm cold in 70 degrees, so I need to have warm clothes. I think it may need to wait for the last weekend in April, maybe, instead of the last weekend in March. Maya, that is really, really harsh. I still say, though, your 24-hour days over the summer sound really nice. But what's the warmest it gets in the summer there, Maya? Does it get warmer than 80? June 1st. And then when does it start snowing again? September 1st or October 1st? I know in Minnesota we could get snow in October, and it was possible to snow until the end of April. Hey, Oregon Valley girl, how are you? Miss Sunrise Dawn, it is a pleasure to see you. We are talking about the weather everywhere. I need to find my AirPods because my AirPod just told me that the battery is dying. So give me a moment while I switch these out. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, Flying Mom. I don't know if I can wait until June. I might wait until April, though. That's for sure. Oregon Valley girl, as Liz Ferris says, you are not late. You are here right when you need to be here. Wow. You're really happy if you get 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Boy, oh boy, you guys are acclimated to a colder climate. It's a funny story. We had an exchange student for a year, and he was from Bahrain, which is in the, oh, now, in the Persian Gulf, right next to Saudi Arabia. And it's a very small country, but it's right in the Gulf, so it's hot almost all the time. And when he came in September, we decided to take him for dinner, and we went downtown. We were living in Seattle, outside of Seattle at the time, so we went to this little place in Beaverton that was downtown Beaverton, and we stopped. We it took a little while for we had to wait to get seated. Yeah, that's where I'm getting, Ren. He came in August. It was mid-August. And so we had time to wait until we were going to get seated. So we walked over to the little park in downtown Bellevue. And I tell you, it was a beautiful 75 or 80-degree day, hardly a cloud in the sky, just a little bit of a breeze. It was just perfect. And this poor boy was shivering. He was so cold. He was in short sleeves with no coat, and he was so cold. So, yes, indeed, he froze. He was so excited, though, when we took him up in the mountains and he got to see his first snow. He got to go snow camping with my husband. It was a wonderful year. We really enjoyed it. Miss Sunrise Dawn, what are you doing in Georgia, girl, if you like cold weather? You can move to Minnesota or North Dakota or Montana. They have cold weather. Ontario, crazy, unusually warm, and you got close to 85 Fahrenheit. That you were melting. 85 Fahrenheit is about my favorite, but I can understand how that would be so unusually warm, because I remember the times here in the Pacific Northwest where it starts hitting above the 100-degree mark. It is so incredibly hot, and we don't have any air conditioning often in the Pacific Northwest. Um, our house now has air conditioning, but we haven't always had air conditioning, and it can get really miserable when it hits 107 and you are not used to it. You like the bees on my ears, Oregon Valley girl? Is that what you're looking at? I got those today. I was so excited about them. Yeah, 115 a couple of years ago. People just die because the AC. There you go. I got them today. I'm so happy. Can you guys see? I've shown them off a half a dozen times now so far. I got them as a little treat for myself for finishing the quarter. They were so cute. Maya, yeah, no AC. Just open the windows when it's cool out and wait and see. You would not survive for 5 minutes in that heat. You know what the trick is in heat like that? Is that um you sit by a pool. Hopefully you're in a place where it's dry, but you sit by a pool with people bringing frozen drinks to your chair, your pool chair, and every time you get dried off, you jump back in the pool. That is the way you survive in that kind of heat, is you just stay by the pool. Set your feet in the pool, have the pool nearby, hang out in the sun, put on lots of sunscreen. Miss Sunrise Dawn, family does a lot to keep you in a place, doesn't it? It sure would be nice to move somewhere more southerly. I would really love to move further south, but I also, right, Dawn? Is it not the best for when it gets hot? It's the only thing that keeps me sane when it's that hot, is being able to hang by the pool. But you're in Georgia. Don't you get high humidity too? See, that's the worst. I prefer Arizona, where at least it's a dry heat. Although I lived in Arizona 30 years ago, but nowadays they have um, so much irrigation that it's much more humid there than it used to be. It's actually a big problem. Yeah, the humidity with the heat makes it really difficult. I know in Minnesota sometimes the temperatures can get 102 or 105. And when you combine that temperature with humidity, it feels like you're sitting still while dripping. It's very unpleasant. It's very unpleasant. I would assume most houses have air conditioning down there, Sunrise Dawn. Maya, I totally hear that. Growing up in Minnesota during the high summer with all the windows open, only a sheet to cover me, and not a breeze of wind made Sleeping at night, almost impossible because it's just stifling heat. Ran, I agree. I can go sit in the sauna and do what do they call them in Scientology? Um, oh, now I can't remember what they call them in Scientology, but I could go sit in the sauna forever, but the humidity really makes it hard. Ren, you're totally right. Fan with a bowl of ice cubes. I never knew that that was a thing. It never occurred to us. Lots of bodies of water here. That should help with the coolness, I would hope, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Purification rundown, Lisa. Exactly. The Purif. I could do the Purif forever. I'm kidding. I don't want to do the Purif. I don't want to take that much niacin. All the stores were sold out of those small fans after the first week. Indeed. Indeed. That's something you have to prepare for. You have to have your fan. It's like when we get a heat wave here in the Pacific Northwest, every store in the first 2 days is out of window air conditioners. It's a miserable thing. Oregon Valley Girl, did you guys see Will Good going off on the bullshit in La Poubelle's service and attempted a restraining order? I did see a little bit of that. Um, I heard that his attorney was going to appear for him since he wasn't served properly. But I don't know what became of his uh case today. I only know for sure that DOA did not get a restraining order issued against DOA. Yeah, Sunrise Dawn. It can be considered an emergency if the AC goes out in the summer, especially if the person is elderly or has health conditions. I totally understand that. In some states in the north, it is illegal to disconnect or it's illegal for the utilities to disconnect or turn off anyone's heat during the winter because it is so dangerous to turn off the heat when it's, 10 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, 20 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. That's a little cold to be turning off the heat. So they have winter months where you can't turn off the heat for people. Yeah, the trick is, Maya, you want to keep the house closed up during the hot hours, and then as soon as it gets cold, you want to open everything up and let it bring the cold air in. Close all the blinds, don't let the sun in. Keep everything in the house during daylight hours when it gets hot, and then as soon as the sun goes down, well, the sun doesn't go down where you are, so I don't know how you deal with that. Does it just stay that hot all night long, Maya? Hey, Melody, how are you? It's good to see you. Yeah, Ren listens. I think it's important to have cooling stations and warming stations for the homeless and those without AC. It gets so hot and it's only getting hotter. Sunrise Dawn, blind tech, that's hilarious. That is the proper use of blind tech, I will have you say. I will say to you, that is the proper use of blind tech. Lisa says that she thinks that um, Williams' restraining order was delayed too. So they're trying to put DOA and Williams together. That's interesting. Melody, I am doing very well, thank you. I was a little late to this live because I was turning in the final assignment for one class that I have, and I got that done, but it just took me a little longer to submit it than I expected. And then I've got 2 assignments due for my very last class, but they are mostly completed. They are due tomorrow, so as of tomorrow, I will be done with my classes. So I got done early with work today, and I thought about going downtown, but I decided to come home instead and work on my homework so that I can get it done, so that I can review it. I got a little bit done, and then I needed a break to chat with some people. Yeah, Maya, the sun doesn't go down, so it never cools off, right? Ren listens. I think what happened is the motivation found me. We got close enough up against the deadline. We got close enough up against the deadline that my anxiety meter said, yeah, you can't wait any longer. So I need to adjust the anxiety meter so that I don't get quite so far behind. I'm looking forward to seeing how that looks for next quarter. But I think next quarter is going to be an easier class. Melody, I am excited. I'm really excited to be done. And I took next week off from work. So I'm really excited. I haven't had any time off since last summer. So I'm excited to have a couple of days off where I don't have to do anything. And then ready to drive back in. You're not used to blind tech. I can understand. You have so much darkness during the year, you have to recharge during the summer months. That makes total sense. I have to admit, my blinds don't come down very much in the summer either during the long days. Sunrise Dawn, you're going to have to come back and tell us how Gizmo's doing. I've been worried about him, but it's good that you've got to go medicate him. Lisa, I will shoot you an email later. It'll probably be tomorrow. Melody, are you still here? Melody wants to come down too. And she wanted some notice about when we were going to be down. So tomorrow sounds like a good day. Okay, let me know what you think about tomorrow. 1 o'clock is always a good time. Let's plan on that. I am having trouble making decisions right now. I had a terrible time making the decision about whether to come home or go downtown. Come home or go downtown. I changed my mind half a dozen times on the way home. So I think that's just worrying about school and everything else. Thank you, Ren. We appreciate all the views we can get. I'm excited about meeting Melody and having her come down to be with us. It's exciting how much. And did you guys hear? I know Lisa heard, but it sounds like Nora lives here. Liz Ferris and Laura FM are talking about coming up to Portland and Seattle. So that is really, really exciting. I'm not sure what their timing is about it. It sounds like it's going to be sometime in April or May. But they're going to come up to Portland to see Nora. And since they're in Portland, they're going to go all the way up to Seattle. Laura's going to see about booking some shows. Exactly. Protester road trip. May, Melody, they said May. I couldn't remember. Thank you. May sounds like an excellent time. I am really, really excited about. Yeah, Mandy said she'd come down to Portland. Um, oh, I didn't hear that Jeff said he was going to come down when they came. That's exciting. It's not a difficult drive for Jeff. I mean, for the Portland or for the Seattle and Vancouver down, for the Portland and sorry, for the Seattle and Vancouver folks, it's what? It's a 3-hour drive to Seattle and a 5-hour drive to Vancouver. Lisa, what's your big trip and when are you going? I don't think I've heard about this. It would be really exciting if they come down before you go on your big trip. Everybody, you need to be aware that March, a week from Saturday, is that March 30th? I think it is. A week from Saturday. Yep, that's March 30th. A week from March 30th. Yes, Maya, I'm in the Pacific Standard Time Zone. A week on March 30th is the big event for L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. And so they're having a big event from like 5:30 on. Lisa, that sounds great. You know, my husband hiked the PCT when he was a kid. Are you going to hike the whole thing this year or are you just going to hike part of it? Ren, thank you, the 30th. The Pacific Crest Trail, you guys, is this wonderful trail that follows the Pacific Ridge all the way from Mexico to Canada. So it goes the length of California and then Oregon and Washington. And my husband hiked most of it when he was a kid. It's a really big deal to go hike it. I didn't realize you were doing that, Lisa. Are you going to try and do the whole thing? That's so amazingly cool. I think since you're going to be in LA, I think you should hook up with them. You have a permit for the whole thing. You're going to take are you going to be able to take your camera and live stream part of it? I can't imagine that there's service along the whole way. And I didn't realize they were taking permits now. That's excellent. That's so exciting, Lisa. That's so exciting. I'll have to tell my husband. It's very interesting. It's different. It's nice how much it's different now. You can go with um ultralight gear and it makes it much much easier. My husband had a really heavy pack because the ultralight gear didn't even exist when he did the PCT in 1991. He did it in 1991. Um, and he did most of all of California and most of Oregon, and then he had a stress fracture. Yeah, take us with. It's a matter of having all the power, and the hacks get so heavy that you want to shave off ounces, and batteries take so many ounces, so much weight in the batteries. I'm not sure how she's going to do it, but boy, it would be great to see that live streamed. No service, just a couple of lives, putting out videos though whenever you can. That's great. That's really exciting, Lisa. No service, mostly a couple lives. That's so exciting. What's everybody else's plan during this summer? Maya, from my couch. Exactly, from my couch. My husband and I watch. There is a whole YouTube sector devoted to live aboard boaters. So, not just, I know there's a whole sector of YouTube dedicated to um, van life and RV life. Wow, Lisa. That's with all your gear without food and water. That's just amazing. I think my husband's pack with food would end up weighing between 100 and 115 pounds. It's just technology has come so far in the ability to do hikes like that. It makes an incredible difference. And even ultralight boots, he has old, heavy leather hiking boots. And the ultralight hiking boots you can get nowadays are just amazing and take so much weight from the whole thing off. I mean, my 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 husband sent back cards to save the ounces out of his pack because his pack was so heavy. Maya, again, I agree with you. It would be nice to be seen from a stream in the couch. Yeah, that's why he ended up with a stress fracture in his foot and had to come off trail, Maya. He ended up with a stress fracture. His legs, though, boy, my husband has nice legs. Really nice legs. Did a lot. It made a huge difference. Yeah, Lisa, if I never thought that there was any way that I could do anything like that. Um, and certainly I can't do now, but as I get better, boy, it'd be nice to be able to go. And it'd be nice for him to be able to go again. He wouldn't be able to do it again at our age if it weighed that much either. And exactly, trail runners instead of boots. You can hike so much faster with so much less weight. I think on a long day, how many miles do you do a day on the trail, Lisa? If I remember correctly, it was 15 to 20 miles a day my husband made, and 20 miles was a lot. So he had folks, the year that he did the PCT, there were folks doing it in ultralight. They didn't have ultralight gear, but they had ultralight boots and something like trail runners, but 30 years ago, whatever that was. No, it's an actual trail, Maya, but it is in the wild, wild. Like there is an actual trail, um, but it is wild and you are on your own. You're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. The only other people you're really going to run into, unless you're crossing freeways or going through a town, the only other people you're going to run into are people on the trail. Um, so it's a very kind of remote trail. Um, you have to remember, America is huge, and so you can get to remote places fairly easy. Um, there's no service for most of it, but it's an actual trail. That's great, Lisa. That sort of thing didn't used to happen. I have a satellite communicator, so I have always have some kind of service plus an SOS button. 10 miles, huh, Lisa? I'm sure you'll get better with time. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long to get better with time. You're starting in mid-May. Hopefully they won't have any snow on the ground anymore in the mountains in California. But, it's warmer nowadays than it used to be. I'm really glad you have a satellite communicator. Those sorts of things didn't used to exist, wasn't an option. So it makes a huge difference. It's much safer, I think. It's much safer. I'm often surprised when I hear the stories. Orion's coming to say hi again, everybody. I hear the stories my husband tells about hiking the PCT, and I'm astounded that he made it home alive. There are so many places where it was touch and go and dangerous, that I would hesitate to let him go if he didn't have a sat phone. Melody, I hear it's really peaceful. My husband loved it. He's always wanted to go again. Squirt bottle with distilled water and a fan. Come on, that's enough. Stop it. He's insistent on getting scritches, and he will lick me incessantly until I get scritches. A squirt bottle with distilled water and a fan. Yes, I need to get one of those for when it gets hot out. I hate that's enough. I'm giving you scritches. I hate the humidity too. Although it doesn't often get so awful here with the heat and humidity. I think it tends, for as humid as it is during the winter, I guess it doesn't rain at all during the summer, so it does get dry. Gave Gizmo kisses for y'all. He's still barely holding on. Honestly, I would have put him down yesterday had my hubby agreed to it. He says he'd be haunted wondering if he could have recovered. Oh, Dawn, I am so, so sorry. That's a terrible decision to have to make, and there's no good answer to it. I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry. Just have a moment of silence for Gizmo. And I'll have a moment of prayer. Hopefully it doesn't offend. Maya, that is hilarious. My brother has a satellite phone and keep testing his SOS button before he goes hunting. The problem is he doesn't tell us before he tests it, so you're in full panic mode for a while. Oh my goodness, Maya, this sounds like the boy who crawls wolf. That's a terrible thing for him to do. He should tell you before he tests it. That way you don't go into panic mode. Hey, Susan P., how are you? Happy to see you. I hope everything's well. Dawn, you are welcome. There is no good answer. It's the worst seeing our fur babies in such conditions and not knowing what to do about it, not being able to do anything about it. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Susan, I'm glad you're doing well. Sorry guys, I just got a work text come in. Nothing I need to worry about, I don't think. No, nothing I need to worry about. He tests the SOS button, then he sends a message that it was only a test. I think you need to set him straight on the right direction in which to do this. send a message, it's only a text, and then test the SOS button. He can do it anyway. Dawn, I'm glad it doesn't offend. Lisa, I'm sorry you had to make that decision yourself. Oregon Valley Girl, how come you have to get another vehicle? We have to get another vehicle. My husband had an accident last week, and he drives an older car, which is not worth much. It's just his commuter. And we have $1,000 deductible. So they came back. The estimate to fix it was only $1,750. So they came back saying they wanted to fix it rather than total it, because of course their out of pocket for that deal is only $750. So my husband took it into the body shop, and they laughed and said, no, it's not $1,750. It's a whole lot more than that. So my husband is having to navigate with the insurance company, because the insurance company won't take his word for it that it's going to be more than $1,750. He's going to have to negotiate with the insurance company. Oh, and the other stickler is that there is no availability anywhere in Portland for any body work to be done for 60 days or more because of the storm we had, the ice storm we had several weeks ago. Everybody got in accidents, so everything's backlogged for at least 60 days. And we've only got 30 days on our rental coverage. So we don't know if he's going to get his truck totaled or not. And he doesn't want to have two vehicles. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. It's going to have to wait until the insurance company figures out their gig, and they're being a little frustrating. So that's our story about how we have to get another vehicle. I think I should be more afraid of dead air. Right now, I'm more afraid of making sure that Puppy doesn't lick me to death. You guys got quiet all of a sudden. Give me a subject to talk about or ask me a question. What's not right, Susan? That they're not being as... Oh, Dawn. That's so nice you have him cremated and keep a place in your bedroom for the urns. We haven't had pets pass for a long time. We used to live... Yeah, the insurance is not helping more. I'm very annoyed with them. We have a good insurance company. But I think nowadays they don't have adjusters. They're just so they're taking it all on pictures and asking the body shop to do the work of giving a full they're asking the body shop to do the work of giving a full estimate to the insurance company without any indication of what's going to happen. It's quite annoying. Yeah, Maya. making those decisions is really, really hard because you never know when is the right time to make that decision. Is it too early? Is it too late? Are you waiting too long? Could they get better? It's just a terrible decision to make. Really, Maya? That's interesting. Do they have to be lots of hearts for Dawn? Lots of hearts for Dawn. Do they have to be interred right away? I think they figure that the ashes are burnt at such a high temperature that they're sterile. I find it interesting you're not allowed to keep the ashes from humans. Dawn, have you posted pictures of Gizmo in Reese's Facebook group? I'd love to see some. Yeah, we're allowed to make the decision ourselves about what to do with them. Although, you know, if somebody's buried, they have to be buried in a cemetery. You can't just bury somebody in your backyard. So there are some rules about what you need to do. But if somebody decides to be cremated, you can either have their ashes interred in a funeral plot or in a mausoleum. Um, a dragon urn, Lisa. Wow. A dragon urn. I can't wait to hear about that. I have an urn in mind for my father's ashes. It's in the shape of a hot air balloon. I would love to see it. I have no clue why we cannot keep the ashes. It's just ashes. The urns have to be buried in a graveyard. Yep. We can bury the urns in a graveyard or they can be interred in a mausoleum. Okay, Dawn. Thank you. I'll take a look at Cricket's lives. I bet you he's a cutie. It must be so. I'm just really sorry. We can't keep talking about how awful it is because that just makes it awful. It's so incredibly weird for me to hear everyone over there keeping the ashes. I can imagine that that would be creepy in some ways when you're not accustomed to it. I think cremation is seems much more popular to me now than it was 30 years ago. When I was younger, when I was a kid, people got buried and we didn't cremate animals, we just buried them in the backyard. That's the way it was when I was a kid 40 years ago. Um so cremated animals are a relatively new thing. So are cremated people. I don't know what's caused the shift. Um but it's been a major one and people are getting cremated more and more. I think it in part has to do with cremation is a much more economical um, option. Funerals cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Melody, that's really sweet. On your mantle with their collar on them, that's really, really sweet. That's sweet. Make sure you remember them every day. Dawn, I think that would be a lovely idea. Then everybody would get to see a picture of Gizmo. We would really love that. No, Maya, it's not that long ago since they started cremating animals, even in your country, huh? Lisa, I wondered what you meant about your favorite. Orion has found a squirrel, y'all. What kind of squirrel did you have? Orion. Squirrels in the backyard. Your ferret's ashes. Yeah, you just had your ferret die. I remember that. And the squirrel that you had for 8 years. Squirrels, it used to be in the 1800s, squirrels were really, really common pets. It was incredibly common for people to have squirrels as pets. They apparently make really excellent pets. So I'd love to hear about the squirrel that you had, and I really hope you guys are still able to hear me over Orion. Susan, I think you're right. Older people didn't want to be cremated back in your mom's day. They didn't agree with it. They thought it was weird. But nowadays, both my grandmothers were cremated. No. One grandmother was cremated and one was buried. I bet you can hear Orion too over. He's come here, hey, come here. We'll get the treats out. See if that makes a difference. Come here. That's gonna not make. I have a necklace with a tiny piece of my dad's ashes in it, and it's a really important piece to me. You can find a lot of jewelers on Etsy who will make jewelry with ashes, the cremains as they're called, included in the jewelry. And I really like the idea of turning the ashes into diamonds, but it's incredibly expensive to have that done. It's more expensive than getting the diamonds normally. So I haven't done that because that's out of my price range. It sure would be nice, but maybe when I win the lottery. Maybe when I win the lottery, I'll do something like that. My dream would be, because they can make those diamonds not just out of ashes, but they can make them out of hair. So my dream is to have stones made from each of my children's hair and have them set in a ring that I can wear. And what I'd really love to do is have them inset so they're against my skin, inset on the inside of my wedding ring. But that seems, oh, he's a cutie. Sunrise Dawn, he's a cutie. Susan, where do you live? Have you told me before? If you have, I forgot. Sunrise Dawn, there's your picture of Gizmo. Oh, thank you for changing it for us. So adorable. Just a lovely little face. So cute. Arkansas, Susan. So she's going to make you travel. Some in the desert and some in Alaska. The ocean and the beach and the mountains. She's going to make you travel all over the place. Is she getting a life insurance policy that you're going to be a beneficiary of so you can spread her ashes in all those places she wants them spread? But boy, that makes it that means you're going to get a chance to travel. Spread them in all those places. That sounds lovely. Yeah, I love that picture, Sunrise Dawn. It's a great picture. Your grandma died Maya, your grandma died 2 years ago, and she was so close to me and my 3 dogs. So when she was buried, I did a drawing on a piece of paper and I included a little bit of my 2 dogs' ashes and a piece of your. I'll wait for the rest to come. I did a similar thing when my grandma died. She had begged me to complete a shawl for her, and I hadn't, and I hadn't, and I hadn't, and I feel guilty about it to this day, but I rushed and finished it for her while she was in her deathbed, so she had it. She had it, and she was conscious she had it. She knew I'd finished it, and I included it with her body when she was cremated. So she's got a little bit. She's got a little bit of me. Oh. Sorry, guys. It's probably been 15 years since my grandma died. More than that. 18 years, something like that. It's been so long. But yeah, I put that shawl in with her cremains so that she would have it with her all the time. So I know how much that can mean to include something like that, Maya. I really understand. I saw, Susan, that Selfless Self was on Jeff's channel. Sorry about the squirrels. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet since I was working this morning. I'm going to try and finish my homework, or I'll get in trouble with IMI for not finishing my homework. So I need to finish my homework before I watch a bunch of YouTube videos. We'll see how successful I am at that. Got most of the afternoon, so that will be nice. Maya, let's hear the rest of this. So on top of the casket, the flower ring said, "You will always be with me." And inside the casket, there was an artwork that said, "We will always be with you." Yeah. Yeah, Maya. That's so touching. Dawn, your last grandparent in 2005. I miss them all. Yeah. The older I get, the more I miss them. I miss the fact that some of my children will never ever know them. Have never ever known them. One of the hardest things in my life is that my dad died when my youngest was 3. And so my youngest doesn't even remember her grandfather. Yeah. Death is hard. It's hard losing people. It's hard losing pets. It's hard losing people in all manner of ways. I have a very close friend who was in a devastating car accident just before the beginning of the pandemic. And he is incapacitated in a wheelchair and nonverbal. And I have to say, in some ways, that's harder than death. It's harder than death. Maya, Oregon Valley girl, says they moved grades to higher ground in Europe because of flooding. Have you had the same in Norway? Oregon Valley girl, I was just thinking that as I drove by a graveyard today that was across from a wetland, and wondered how much higher the wetlands need to get around here in order to be an issue for the cemetery. I know that that's part of the reason, like in New Orleans, the cemeteries are above ground because the groundwater is so close to the groundwater is so close to the top of the ground that it's um, that it's not good to bury people underground. So all of the burials in New Orleans are above ground. Maya, that is amazing. Your grandma was almost 107 years old and only in the last 6 months started to get dementia. You're so lucky to have had her that long. That's an amazing lifespan. And to not get dementia until the end, she must have been just amazing. The thing I miss about my grandparents is their stories. Their stories about how things used to be. You know, the stories that used to bug me when I was a kid, but became all that more interesting. Oh no, it's okay, Maya. I'm getting weepy because I don't regularly talk about this with anybody, so it's kind of nice to get to talk about it. We can turn it into a happy stream again here soon, but you know, a little bit of sad is okay. Wow. Oregon Valley Girl, that song always makes me cry. She worked for the Army during World War II. That must have been amazing stories. That must have been amazing stories. Yeah, it's the stories that older people have. And I'm starting to feel like an older person now, especially with how much technology has changed in my lifetime. I mean, when I was a kid, my youngest age, when I was 15, car phones were a thing, but car phones were wired into the car, and they were something that only rich people who really needed phones had. They weren't There were portable phones, but they were the size of a brick. They didn't work very well, and all you could do with them was to dial somebody. It wasn't like you could have your whole life in your phone. Cool Blue 64, I'm so glad you're here as well. It's nice to see you. Where are you coming in from? So when I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones per se. They were big as a brick. We had car phones, but only rich people had them. And wireless phones in the house were only really rare. So all you had was phones attached to cords. You had to have the phone cord long enough in the kitchen to be able to reach everywhere in the kitchen so you could have her talks in the kitchen. You only had 4 channels on the TV. If you were lucky and were in a big city, you'd get 4, but most of the time you only had 3. Boy, we've come a long way. Cool Blue, it is good to see you. Maya, exactly. I wish I had more recordings of my dad. I have some voicemails from him. but not near enough. And, I could have taken more time to make recordings, but it never seems real until it's there. Cool Blue, Aloha, Oregon. That's funny. That's where I live, is Aloha. And indeed, they would float. Can I imagine? It would be terrible. DJ, I'll borrow a saying from Liz. Whenever you get here is the right time to be here. Tell me when you're coming from. Oh, Susan, that's so sweet. He wore his pajamas all the time, and she had a quilt made. My dad wore a lot of plaid shirts, and so I have a small collection of his shirts, and he died a little over 10 years ago. My sister, who's 40 years younger than me, 20 years younger than me, rather, not 40 years younger, she's 20 years younger. My dad remarried, and she had a baby 2 years ago. And so I took one of his shirts and made a quilt for my niece from Daddy's shirt, for my sister and for my niece. And it's a really nice way to remember people. It's a really nice It's a really nice thing to do. Flaley during Portland wrestling. Yeah, I wish I had taped my grandma. I wish I'd had the ability. We didn't have the technology to do that. Bali songs, how are you? It's great to see you. Yeah, you're right, Maya. Kind of 40 years is when I was a kid. 20 years is how much younger my sister is than me. 40 years is a long time. April 1st, 29 years ago. April Fool's Day, huh? Sounds like a fun thing for your daddy to do. Hilarious. Oregon Valley Girl, exactly. A harvest gold wall phone, harvest gold or avocado wall phone with a cord that was like 20 feet long so you could get the whole kitchen with, hey, Rika. Oh, Jeff had that idea. The cat broke the Christmas ornaments. That's really, really sad. We've done that in my family. We've bought every year for the kids, except for during the pandemic. Um, every year for the kids, they get to pick out a Christmas ornament for the year so that they have a Christmas tree full of Christmas tree ornaments when they move out, and they don't have to buy a bunch of them all at the same time. Rika, I am doing really well, I think. I have got um I've got most of my homework assignments done and turned in. I have two left that are mostly written. One is due tomorrow and one is due Thursday, and I just need to do the final edits on them and they will be ready to turn in. So that is exciting. Yeah, someone in the chat had the idea. I think that's a brilliant idea to make an artwork out of them. It never would have occurred to me. I just would have brushed them all up and thrown them away and been sad about it. So yeah, Susan, it was a great idea. Rika, you do the same tradition of buying Christmas ornaments for your kids every year? Yeah, I think I don't know where I got that idea, but I think it's been nice. Just this year we've boxed the oldest two's up into their own boxes so that they can start putting the ornaments on their tree instead of on our tree. Dawn says, my dad worked at the phone company when I was growing up, and they tested cell phone services by letting their employees have them first. So we were some of the first to have one. Remember bag phones? I don't remember bag phones. I don't remember bag phones. Give me a year. Did you have to? Yes, I do. You had to like carry the phone in a bag. It was almost like a purse. Reminded me of the phone interfaces that the phone company people would carry around. It reminded me sort of that. Oregon Valley girl, yep, homework on the party line. Although I lived in the city, I didn't have a party line. By the time I moved out to the country in 1991, and we lived out in the country in a small town from 1991 until probably about 2010. And we moved out to the country right before, right after party lines ended. So I have never had a party line. Just missed out on those. But we still had septic tanks. That we didn't get rid of as much. They get rid of septic tanks. The sewer lines came in after we moved out from that house. Exactly, Rika. Our tree is so full. We have 4 kids with a lifetime's worth of tree ornaments. So it felt after I packed everything up this afternoon, or not this afternoon, this year for Christmas. It felt like we had so many fewer ornaments, but that's okay. We'll have a less packed tree. Hold on just a second, guys. Cool Blue 64. I would be interested in coffee and hearing your Scientology story. Just email me. Here's my email. I would love to hear it. Yep, Rika, like a briefcase. Dawn, I haven't noticed anything. Has anybody else noticed any buffering? If I'm if I am breaking up, I don't think it's me though. Maya, it was amazing what we could do with the phone between the chin and shoulder and the long cord. I remember baking bread and cleaning the house with the darn cord dragging behind me. I remember doing the same thing. I read an essay once that talked about the huge differences between the phones we used to have and the cell phones now. And part of that is that the phones we used to have were really ergonomically designed to work and to fit and to feel nice while they worked. And they were also designed because the connections were so difficult at the beginning, they had to really design the earpieces and the microphones to have really exceptional quality. And so with old phones and a landline, you can still get better quality calls than you'll get from a cell phone most of the time. And we didn't have earpieces. We just held the phones like this, Or you could get extra things that made the phone stick, but we could do anything, baking bread, all of those things. Rika, I want to hear all the Scientology stories too. The Thetans are buffering. There you go, Oregon Valley girl. The Thetans are buffering, that's for sure. Well, Maya, I agree. We can't do anything on the phone without earbuds because you can't the cell phone is so tiny. You can't possibly hold it like this. There is no way to hold it like this. Exactly, Rika. And you also press the buttons or you hang up on them by accident. It's the worst. I miss the old school phones too. You press yeah, I've especially if I have earrings in, I've tried to press the cell phone against my shoulder to stay on it, and I end up disconnecting the call. Right. Susan, I agree the things we've seen in this lifetime. I've heard it said that Gen Xers were one of the last generations to be able to run free and play outside, and one of the last generations to experience a non-tech upbringing. Yeah, Rika, first world problems indeed. Dawn, I would agree. So amazed when they were coming out with a phone that could take and send pictures. Even more, consider we were so amazed at those pictures, and they were such poor quality back in the day. I look at those pictures now and I'm so sorry. I got distracted by Maya's comment. I need to remember not to look at the chat until I'm ready to talk more. The pictures that they had back then, if I there's so many pictures of my kids on those old phones, and they're disappointing to look at. It's really sad. I almost wish I'd taken film or had a digital camera. Yeah, exactly. Horrible pictures. I hate the earbuds with touchscreen buttons. If I need to press it into my ear again, I hang up. Yep, exactly. Susan, I don't know everything my phone can do either. I'm always fighting with it. I had to send money to my mom this morning, and we went through 3 apps in order to do it. I have to push buttons. I have to allow for downloads of apps. I have to connect this to that. It's it's and just the thought of being able to instantly send money to talk to anybody you want in the entire country without it being long distance. I mean, do you guys remember you couldn't call across the city without it being long distance? And in-state long distance was more expensive than interstate long distance. Oh my goodness. The phone bills. My mom would call once a week. You'd schedule and budget how much long distance calls you could make because they were so expensive. Yeah, the pictures were so grainy. They're really disappointing nowadays, looking at them again. Yeah, the do you remember when text messages cost and people would get thousands of dollars in bills because of text messages? Just regular text messages. People would get billed for those. It was before we had free everything. You had a limit on how many text messages you could send a month, and people would go over them. I can't recall why they would go over those limits, but they would go over them by astronomical amounts and get bills of tens of thousands of dollars for text messages. Long distance, exactly. Now you can get calling plans that you can call all over the whole world for free. Or you can use Facebook or Skype. I remember when Skype just came out, and I remember when Skype first came out and you could call all over the world for free. And it was revolutionary. Revolutionary to have a calling service that allowed you to call anywhere you wanted. It looks like Scotch might be about to make an appearance. You guys have seen Orion. Oh, no, Orion's going to take over because he's afraid that Scotch will come up on my lap if given the chance. Jealousy wins. But Scotch may still make it over here. We will have to see. Sunrise dawn after 7 p.m. and weekends here. Yeah, I remember you had friends and family. You could call friends and family for free and you'd put them on your list. Come on, come on. Yep, Line is another one. Like Skype, I remember. You have family in Japan. That's amazing that you can keep in contact with them on video chat. Video chat was a Jetsons dream when I was a kid. I have 2 cats, Maya, and 1 dog. So the 2 cats are Scotch and Soda. And Orion here is the one dog. Although my eldest son and his partner have 2 dachshunds that are both siblings to Orion, not out of the same litter, out of different litters. And my son also has a retired sled dog. So she's a husky and she's 9 or 10. They have 2 dachshunds. But let's see if I put Orion down, if Scotch will want to come over and see me. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Your husband is Japanese and his whole family is over there. That must be hard for him being so far away from home. But boy, video chat and FaceTime and all the other different ways of communicating that we have nowadays are just amazing compared to what we had way back in the day. We have come a long way with technology. Come on, Scotch, everybody wants to see you. You guys know the way to tell a cat you love him? Way to tell a cat I love you is to do a slow blink. Here he comes. You're getting a good view of hair right now. But he will turn himself aware. Yeah, there are 2 different kinds of huskies, and I'm not sure what the difference is. Yeah, nice butt, exactly. I'm not sure what the difference is. I think an Alaskan husky is a sled dog. There you go. There's Scotch's face. Isn't he a beautiful boy?
I'm not sure I understand.
Siri, I didn't want to talk to you.
Okay then.
Yeah, okay then. Come here, Scotch. Let him see your pretty face. There you go. Most of our family is in Florida. I remember being alarmed when they called during the day because they always waited until nighttime unless it was an emergency. I remember it being like that too, Sunrise Dawn. They wouldn't call until evening or on the weekends. Susan, I think he's beautiful too. My favorite are brown tabbies. Male brown tabbies. If you had to tell me what's my favorite cat, it's a male brown tabby. And if I had to narrow it down further, I'd say a Maine Coon cat. Do you guys see how big he is? Let me push him back a little so you can see how huge he is. Nothing but love. How are you? I can't wait till I see you again. It was lovely to talk to you last time. It's nice to have you stop in, if only for a minute or two, and I really look forward to seeing you next time. It's a really kind message. Thank you so much. I am doing well, nothing but love. I've got a kitty cat in my lap, or had a kitty cat in my lap until a moment ago. And I'm almost done with finals. The two assignments that I've left to turn in. This is a repeat for everybody. Sorry, guys. The two assignments I've got left to turn in are almost done, so I'm just editing this afternoon. And I'll get them turned in tomorrow. Oregon Valley girl, the mowing needs to happen. Get ahead of it before the grass bolts. You really think it's going to bolt with weather like this, so you need to get it cut. Oh, Dawn, that's cute. Lenny and Swiggy are wonderful names for them. Two brown male tabbies. My favorite are male tabbies. And brown tabbies are definitely my favorite. I love me some cats. I do like cats better than dogs. But I'll make an exception for Orion. I got myself some new earrings. I'll show them to you. I've shown them to everybody else. Let me take it out of the other ear because my AirPod's in there. I got myself some new earrings in honor. Come on. Turn around and lay right. See? They're kind of cute. They had another pair that was a bigger cricket, all in gold, but they were much longer. They were already down to here. Sunrise Dawn, 15 cats. How do you manage that? How do you manage that? The litter box work alone would exhaust me. Aren't they pretty, nothing but love? I've got a thing for earrings, but it's very rare that I buy any because they have to be unusual and different and something I haven't seen before and something that'll give me joy wearing them. I like to have fun with my earrings. And I thought these were quite adorable. Beagle, huh? I've never had a beagle. I don't know much about beagles. I can't imagine, Dawn, that he's that rotten. You must keep him around for a good reason. And he puts up with all those cats, which is a lot. It's all that Orion can do to deal with the two that we have, and they're bigger than him by a lot. Both of my cats significantly are bigger than my dog. I'm glad they're worth it. I'm glad they're worth it. I wouldn't be able to keep up with so many, but I wouldn't hate having so many. I would love having so many. Is he rotten? You always wanted a beagle and so hubby got one for you? Is that what you're saying? quiet moment, thinking about what to talk about next. I think we've covered about all of it. I'm all caught up on the comments. There it is. I always wanted a beagle and finally got the chance to rescue him in September. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Okay, now I have to hear the story about how Jasper is rotten. Because it sounds like it's a humorous story. So, what's for the rest of the week? It looks like, with any luck, Lisa and um, Melody and I are going to be downtown tomorrow afternoon and we'll live stream then. Jasper's keeping Miss Dawn on her toes. Well, isn't that a dog's job to get into everything and to remind you of all the things that you haven't cleaned up that they get into? That seems to be Orion's job, is to remind me of all the things I needed to clean up. I have to work Thursday and Friday, so I'm not sure if I'll be downtown or not, but I know that Rika and Lisa will probably be downtown this weekend, and I will likely be downtown too because I'm going to be done with all of the other stuff. I'm going to have to deal with my kids. Deal with my kids. I'm going to have to spend some time with my kids, so that'll impact things, but I'll be able to be out quite a bit more next week. Unfortunately, the weather isn't going to be as nice next week as it has been this week, which is really unfortunate. I would have preferred spring break to be with all of this beautiful sun that you guys can see through that window there. Don says he goes everywhere with me, sleeps with either my daughter or me, pouts when the cats get in his bed, but won't do anything about it, and keeps my 4-year-old busy. Well, that's good that he keeps the 4-year-old busy, right? He won't do anything about the cats getting in his bed? That's funny. Orion tries to sniff the cats' butts anytime they come around, and he is very intent on trying to play with Soda. You have to understand, Soda is probably 4 to 5 inches taller than him and might have 5 or 8 pounds on him. Soda's definitely bigger. Orion's pudgy, but Soda's definitely bigger than he is. So Orion is intent on playing with Soda, and the extent of Soda's participation is when Orion goes screaming zoomies around the house. Soda will put a paw out to catch Orion every time he zooms past. It's kind of adorable to watch. But Orion is certain that Soda's playing with him when that happens, and Soda puts out a paw every time Orion zooms past. It's pretty cute to see. Pretty cute to see. The cats and the dogs playing together. But I can imagine and understand why Jasper doesn't want to do anything when the cats get in his bed. He pouts, huh? That's funny. It's really funny. So, guys, it's been about 2 hours. Is there any other news or anything else you want to talk about? Cats are sly. Indeed, they are. Soda's like, man, what the fuck are you running about? Why are you running around in circles? Why would you even bother doing that? Why? Why would you do that? Just lay here. Stop it, man. That's what Soda's trying to say to Orion, and Orion just keeps up with the zoomies. Keeps up with the zoomies. And yeah, the cats take Orion's bed too, and he doesn't do anything. He just has to go find a different place to 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 lay. You guys, thank you so much for spending part of your afternoon with me. I really appreciate it. Maya, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Lovely to chat with you as well. Have a wonderful sleep. I think it's late where you are. And as for the rest of you, have a lovely and wonderful day. What's that sunrise, Dawn? Jasper was bouncing up and down in front of his bed the other day because Skylar was laying in his bed. She just looked at him like, "What's your problem?" Exactly. Exactly. Soda just sits there and he'll turn his head, watch him run by one way, then he'll turn his head and watch him run by the other. He'll turn his head again, watch him run by. It's pretty hilarious to watch. Pretty hilarious to watch. Maya, sleep well. Have a great rest of your day. Everybody, have a great rest of your day. And I will see you back here tomorrow at some point, one way or another. I'm not sure what time. Still working out a regular time. Um, I don't know that we're going to get a regular time until I'm out of school because school keeps throwing a wrench into my schedule. So we're just going to have to deal with a not regular time. Y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all later.